Lino print, lino block printing, wood block printing, wood cut printing. They're all the same thing, they're all relief printing. And relief printing is just inking up a block, much like a traditional stamp, and then transferring that image while the ink is still wet onto paper. It's really simple and a lot of fun. Step one, and we won't talk about this now, but is carving out your design on the block that you're using, whether that's lino. And here's a tip, don't use your granny's kitchen floor lino. Old lino has asbestos in it, or linoleum has asbestos in it. So you don't want to be using that. Buy a new sheet from an art store or online. Obviously you could use a wood block, and you use many different types of wood, but there are particular types that work better for wood cuts. So once you have your block, you need an ink. And the Derivian block ink is a water-based, totally non-toxic ink, which is perfect for use at home or in schools or in studios. You can use this ink with lino, wood cuts, soft carve, pretty well any sort of relief printing. So now we're going to ink this up and do a print. So I'm just putting a little bit of ink out here, and I'm going to take my brayer or roller. These need to be fairly firm. You can't use a foam roller or something you would use to paint your walls at home. They need to be a firm rubber roller, because what we're going to do is ink up. So you can see we've got a nice even sort of satiny silk like pattern, I guess you'd call it, on the block. And we just want to transfer that across to our block, making sure obviously you cover the whole area. Now in a perfect world we would be using a roller that was the same size as the block. You can just pick up a little bit more, and that should remain fairly even. And then we're just going to do our first print. It's a good idea to either put a piece of paper underneath the print or move the print over to somewhere that's a little bit cleaner, because I've managed to get over the edge there. Now, things we can use at this point to make sure that our ink is adhering properly to the paper. This is called a baron, a bamboo baron. They're very popular, not expensive. We've got a more professional looking baron here, but I'm just pushing down with reasonable force, but not too hard. The other thing, if you don't have either of those at your disposal, a big serving spoon to just be able to make sure that you're getting contact, good contact with the paper and all of the relief print. The thing you don't want to do is use something that's too small, like your fingers, where you might press down into some of those negative space areas that may have collected some ink, because they will then print as well. And of course, if you've got a rolling pin, that can do the job as well. So now we'll reveal the print. That's worked reasonably well, but it's nice and sharp and clear. I've still got, as I mentioned, these areas here, which I actually quite like, is still a little bit of leftover area that hasn't been cut out. As far as printing a second time from the ink that's left on there, if you're quick, you can, but it will be a ghost print. It will be far, far lighter because the bulk of the ink has come off. Therefore, you need to ink the plate up for each print that you do, every time. So that's lino printing. Keep an eye out for more videos on some of the more detailed aspects that we've covered here and other lino printing ideas. And don't forget to subscribe.